Hi, Chris Cowher from Patriot Community Bank. Today we wanted to talk about preparing for a purchase mortgage application or refinance application, or even just to get pre-approved, to talk about some of the required documentation to ensure that your mortgage application will be processed in a timely fashion. I know sometimes the whole entire process can be a bit daunting, so if you're prepared for it ahead of time, it can make it a lot easier. So for example, I'll jump right into it. The application itself is basically just asking you questions about your name, your address, your social security number, things like that. And then we're going to get into, your residence, where you're living. Typically, we need about a 2-year history of where you've been residing. Your job history, again, about a 2-year history of where you're working and what your income is. And then we need to list your assets, things like your checking and savings account, any 401k money that you might have in a retirement account, things like that. And then any properties that you own now or have owned in the past, it's good to know about those as well. And then there's a series of questions like things like, are you obligated to pay child support or alimony? Are you divorced or currently married and obligated to pay child support or receive child support, and you want that to be part of the process? Questions like that. Are you a U.S. citizen? And that's pretty much generally what the mortgage application is. Most good loan officers will take that application from you either in person or over the phone. Again, some will allow you to fill it out on your own, but most of them will help you through that process so that to get all the questions right. After the application is filled out, there's going to be a list of required documents. So for every loan process, for example, one of the first things that you're going to need is to verify your income. If you're employed by an employer, meaning you get a pay stub and a W-2, generally what we'll need from you is your last 2 years of W-2s, a current pay stub that covers like a 30-day period that's less than 30 days old. And again, that generally will cover verifying your income. If you're self-employed, you will need to provide tax returns for both your personal, and if you own a company that's separate and not a DBA, we'll need copies of the last year's tax returns and the current year tax returns for both you personally and for the business. After that, we'll focus on the asset information. So generally, we'll need 2 months of any bank statements from either checking, savings, 401k, IRA, mutual funds, things like that. In addition, we'll need any recent statements that you might have for any stock accounts that you have, or anywhere that money may be coming from for the transaction, or any money that will show that you have reserves are also good to show. If you are getting child support or alimony, you may need to provide a copy of the divorce decree and also be able to verify that the child support has been coming in consistently over the prior 12 months. So sometimes the 12 months canceled checks or else showing the money going deposited into your account. If you're currently renting, there are times when we may need to show a rental history, either through a verification that your landlord can fill out or you providing us with canceled rent checks. Again, that's not that frequently, but sometimes that's required. You will need, if you're refinancing, give us a copy of your most recent tax bill, also your current homeowner's insurance bill for refinancings, so we can factor those payments in and continue to escrow those with your new payment. On a purchase, in addition to that, you'll need a copy of the purchase contract. We'll need to know what the realtor contacts are, who's involved in that. If it's a condo, we'll need to know a contact at the condo association that you're buying in so that we can get the condo documents to ensure that the mortgage is properly secured and that we're aware of what's happening with the condo association and things like that. Again, when it comes to child support, alimony, or things like that, you will have to provide a documentation to support that if we're using that income. If you're not using that income, then we don't have to provide it. Again, if you're self-employed or have rental income and own other properties, you will need to provide 2 years of your personal tax returns. In addition to this, 2 years of your corporate tax return if you're self-employed. Again, that's a general overview of the documentation that will be required when you apply for your pre-approval, your mortgage to purchase a house or to refinance. Everybody's situation is a little bit differently. So after you apply, you should get a complete list of all the documentation that you need. And again, use it as a checklist. But I hope this helps you at least to get a little bit ready and be prepared for whether you're getting pre-approved, buying a house, or refinancing one. Thanks a lot and have a good day.